fire has reached us from Jerusalem. The holy fire, as it's known in English, is actually the holy light, is its real name, Ho'ayikos. And this is the first time it's been permitted to be brought to the United States. And so we are the second church in Florida to receive it. And others will be receiving it from us today and spreading it through the rest of Florida. But fortunately, Alexis and I drove up towards Ocala, where a person met us to transfer the holy fire to us. We brought it back here safe and sound. And so, in many ways it didn't hit me until later that, we're among the first people ever to be among the transfer of the holy fire. I was thinking of someone, we were like someone in the Olympics, but the first Olympics. The first Olympics in the Western Hemisphere, right? Because it's the first time it's been transferred in the Western Hemisphere. So, but all of you, the same thing. You're among the first people in the Western Hemisphere to receive it, and it's truly a blessing. And we also did a memorial today for Father Kurt Spengler, who passed away just a few days ago, and the holy fire was brought to him specially when they found out he was dying, and so he died with it right before him. So it's rather special that we got to do his first memorial, within 3 days of his repose right here before the holy fire. It's quite something. But in any case, you say, what is the holy light? Well, it descends every year on Holy Saturday into the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, into the tomb of Christ himself, and it glows. It behaves differently year by year, but oftentimes it just fills the tomb with a bluish-white light all around it, which, by the way, is why I always wear these vestments for Pascha, because it's the color of the light when it first comes. But then it changes color, and sometimes. Within the first 3 minutes, it'll sometimes change to like this bright cinnamon red color as it's being passed, and so on. But sometimes the light actually bounces around the dome. It looks like lightning. They call it the holy lightning, because right before the thing will hit, you'll see blue light bouncing all around the Church of the Holy Sepulchre above the tomb, and then all of a sudden the next thing you'll see is the fire, the light coming out of the tomb. So year after year, it just so happens that lamps light miraculously, not just one in the tomb, but outside. I think last year there were 2 pilgrims. One of them was a nun whose fire, as the patriarch was coming out of the tomb with it, and she's, who knows how many meters that way, and all of a sudden hers spontaneously lights in her hand. And she was also known to be a pretty holy person, very serious about the faith. Anyway, but and things of that nature. There's a lot about the holy fire, and but in any case, we are very graced to have it here, and I encourage you to bring it home with you to grace your homes with it. In any case, last week I asked a question during Christian education about Passover. Why did God instruct the Israelites to consume everything before the morning? They're about to go on a journey out in the desert, and God tells them not to even take leftovers. Everything's got to be gone before you leave tomorrow morning. Everything. Whatever you can't eat, you burn. Now think about what the Jews were thinking. We're going out into the desert, wandering into the desert, and God is telling us that whatever we can't eat, we got to burn. We just made these nice lambs. We just cooked them on a fire, all this nice food, and we can't even bring any of it along with us. Why? Well, maybe some just thought God was being mean, but the answer is because they needed to put their trust in Him. He said, I'm going to feed you, and He did. He fed them every day. Different things, huge flocks of quail He sent them, and things of that nature, until then every day there was manna, of course, for 40 years, which did not cease until they crossed over Jordan 40 years later on Passover. And actually before Passover, and they inherited the land of Pesach Yom Bikurim, which is the Paschal Feast of First Fruits, which is, of course, when Christ was risen from the dead. So all these events are interconnected from ancient times until now. And the same thing with the holy fire. We allow the Jewish and the Muslim authorities to go in and put out every light out of the Holy Sepulchre, to remove every single thing that could possibly ignite any light. And, in years past, there was a couple times where they even removed the wicks, and the holy fire still came, because they were, it was, the last time that happened was a couple hundred years ago, but it didn't work. So, God still came. The light still showed up, and the people still received it. So, and the message is the same. The connection with Passover is, we put out all the lights. What if the light doesn't come? You sit there and you wait for it. And that sometimes is what happens. I know that there was one time where it happened. The light didn't come until after 9 o'clock on Holy Saturday, which was really late, but they stayed and they prayed. And the report from the monk that year was they prayed, Lord have mercy. Once they ceased saying all the hymns and stuff and just started praying, Lord have mercy, because there was a lot of concessions being made faith-wise. The people had become a little lax in their faith, and so they were praying, Lord have mercy, over and over again, until the light came. And so I want to just share with you something that I wrote, and an open letter to my parish, and I didn't know if I was going to send it out, and I decided I am going to share it with you today by reading it. I was truly inspired by the participation on Great Thursday, Great Friday, Great Saturday, and Pascha. Since then, I miss seeing some of the faces that made me so happy on those days. I'm writing this in part in support of your parish council, who really does a lot of work to make sure that the parish stays afloat, so that you and your family are able to come and commune with God every week, as well as all the extra work on holy days to make sure things are special for you and for your family, along with the grounds ministry, Sunday experience ministry, and other volunteers. However, I'm also writing this for your benefit, because I still don't think that many of you understand that God has gifted the parish and the things that belong to it, to you and to your family, so that you may come regularly and spend time with Him sacramentally in prayer, and with each other as spiritual siblings in Christ. He's entrusted this church's well-being to you. It's not Father Harry's church. I know we sometimes do that when we can't recall. Saint, what is it? Holy what? What's that parish? It's Father Nicholas's church, right? It's Father Joseph's church. It's Father Stav's church. It's something, right? That's where we default back to. But it's not. It's holy protection. It's God's church first and foremost, which He has entrusted to you and me, all of us. Now, therefore, you are no longer strangers or foreigners, but you're no longer, read that, visitors. You're no longer strangers or visitors, but fellow citizens with the saints and members of the household of God. Likewise, I'm not sure if you understand that everything we do here, we do for you and your family. Every service that I serve for you. Well, I serve God I don't serve for God's benefit, right? I serve for yours because God doesn't benefit from any of our services. He gives them to us because we benefit from them. It's for you, from God, through us. Every event, every bit of long hours of preparation, all that the volunteers do, is for you and your family. But volunteers sometimes feel the pain when there's a lack of participation after they've done a lot of work for a service or an event. I want to make it clear I don't want anyone to feel guilty. Rather, I'm asking for a change of heart, a change of habit. People feel guilty all the time and don't change their behavior. In fact, it may become worse. Don't feel guilty, but do consider heeding the Lord's call to regularly, on the Lord's Day, come and commune with Him in prayer and in sacrament. A church pastor remarking on why his once thriving church closed its doors after 40 years remarked, the church had moved from being about Christ to being about us. That sealed its fate. Well, I pray that doesn't happen to us. But I'm worried that in the minds of many, church has become about me and my needs, rather than about Christ and His relationship with us. If we do the right thing, we don't need to worry about me and my needs, because God provides when we're doing the right thing and embracing His Son sacramentally. I was reading the story of a family where the parents were separated. And the father agreed to give the wife $350 for support of the family every week and said he would visit weekly. The mother also worked pulling down $550 a week, and the oldest son pulled in a part-time salary himself, working in a fast food restaurant. This, for the most part, would cover the household bills of $900 a week. The only problem was that the father only gave on weeks that he came, and he only showed up once a month to visit the kids. And sometimes less. And only brought the $350 for that week, and not for the weeks that he wasn't able to come. The problem is that even in weeks that he didn't show, the household bills still needed paid. Amounts still needed fed, the mortgage, insurances, electricity, car payment, etc. all needed paid. But they didn't have the money to pay it. He showed up only twice in the first 3 months to visit the children for some legitimate reasons. He was working a few weeks, etc. But because he only gave the amount needed each week, on the weeks that he came, it didn't make up for the weeks that he didn't. By the end of the third month, they were behind $3,300. So the electricity was shut off, the car payment was behind, and the car about to be repossessed, and the mortgage would go into default if they continued in the same fashion. So the wife confronted him about it and asked him if he could please also give for the weeks that he didn't show up for the visitation because they were getting behind on bills. My thought was, the wife shouldn't even have to beg him to do his part. He should have been responsible to the family that God entrusted him with. And I got to tell you, with our treasurer and the parish council struggling to figure out how to pay our bills through the summer, with higher bills but less people, I couldn't help but notice the parallel of this story to the church. We just got our annual $5,500 bill for property and liability insurance, which, by the way, I negotiated down from $12,000 a few years back. It was $12,000 a year. Now it's $5,500, which still is not cheap. And the electric bill is always much higher in the summer, even though we have less people. But we need to run it. These precious icons, we cannot not have air conditioning running all the time in here. We need it all the time. We have a dilapidated fence out back, but we don't have the $7,000 to replace it. We've had repairs on it several times where our volunteers do it. There's a hole in the dome, right underneath the dome, right? Which hasn't been fixed. That'll cost $1,000 if we can find someone to fix it, which that's been part of the problem. An impending air conditioning replacement in the social hall. at least $4,500. That would be all this on top of our regular financial responsibilities. The lawn people need paid. The water people need paid, which is $1,200 a year, which they haven't raised the price on us in 12 years. Which, if they didn't notice, I hope they don't see this part of the sermon, I've got to tell you. The archdiocese needs supported, and yes, the priest needs supported. And there's constant things that come up that are unforeseeable in the budget. So in any case, the church was given by God to us and entrusted to us to care for it. The church is all of our responsibility, and we need to help pay its bills and support its ministries regularly. The Bible tells us concerning the collection of God's people, on the first day of every week, each of you should set aside a sum of money in keeping with your income, saving it up, so that when I come, no special collections will have to be made. Notice he doesn't say, if you're going to bother to show up in church, set aside some money for that week. He says every day, every week, on the first day of the week, let each of you set aside a sum of money in keeping with your income. That's 1 Corinthians 16, verses 1 through 2. While the world will go on if our parish collapses, the Lord does tell the local churches in the book of Revelation that they have to answer to Him for letting it collapse. But this can't be our motivator. I just wish everyone could see that giving to God does not benefit God. It benefits us. God does not benefit. He doesn't need any of our money. Holy protection is the household of God that He gave to you and I, His children, to be our household of faith as His children. I often hear people say, your church. Again, it's not my church. It's God's church that He gave to all of us as His children. He's gifted it to us. The property belongs to God, but He gifted it to us as His children who gather locally and commune with Him. As the father in the parable of the prodigal son said to the loyal son, all that I have is yours also. And that's what God does with us. It still belongs to Him, but He bestows it on us also. As members, you have the right to come and pray and meditate here anytime you like. If I could keep the church unlocked at all times, I would. But obviously, because thieves are real in a fallen world, I cannot. But I would. If I could, I would leave open every door and say, everybody, please come. But I can't. But I will make sure that this church is unlocked for any one of you at any time you want to come here and pray. Anytime. Call me at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're having a crisis. I will get out of bed and I will come over and I will unlock the church for you. Just don't forget to turn the lock on the way back out. That's all right. I remind you of it. You have this whole place, but each other. We have each other as an inheritance. But all of this also, we have as an inheritance from God together. That's incredible. Our inheritance and our children's inheritance. These icons, they belong to God, but they belong to you. And they belong to you and you and you and you and you. And I. They were entrusted to us as members of Holy Protection Church who inherited them. Gifted them to us. But we can't even afford to insure them. The insurance on them would be astronomical. And there was no negotiation on that with the insurance companies. So, in any case, the parish council in this last meeting was trying to figure out how to pay our regular property and liability insurance, let alone adding something like that. So